Something important is changing in the emotional atmosphere right now. And it is bigger than a passing mood or a temporary wave of sensitivity. Jupiter is now moving direct in Cancer, and at the same time Venus and Saturn are forcing deeper truths to the surface around love, loyalty, maturity, and emotional balance. So if things have felt heavy lately, do not dismiss it. This is not random. This is the universe clearing your path, strengthening your foundation, and revealing what no longer belongs in the life you are trying to build. For many, this is the beginning of real emotional recovery. Something has changed. Not in a loud way at first. Not in the kind of dramatic way that always announces itself clearly. This change is quieter than that, but far more powerful. It feels like a subtle turning of the tide in your inner world. A pressure that had been building finally begins to move. A weight you had been carrying in your chest starts to loosen. A truth you were trying not to see becomes impossible to avoid. And somewhere deep inside, perhaps before your mind can even explain it, you realize that you are standing at the edge of a bridge that did not exist before. Behind you is the version of life that kept asking you to survive on emotional crumbs. Delayed answers, mixed signals, postponed blessings, and faith without visible proof. In front of you is a different chapter, but you do not reach it by pretending nothing hurt. You reach it by allowing this transit to show you what was always unstable, what is becoming stronger now, and what kind of future is finally capable of holding you. Jupiter direct in Cancer is not just a transit of luck. It is not shallow abundance, not random manifestation language, not empty positivity. Cancer is the sign of emotional roots, inner safety, home, belonging, nourishment, memory, the part of you that wants to feel protected enough to soften. So when Jupiter, the great expander, turns direct here, it begins moving energy back into the places where your spirit has been underfed. It reactivates the possibility of healing in the very areas where you may have become guarded, skeptical, or quietly heartbroken. It begins restoring movement where your emotional life may have felt paused. It can bring blessings, yes, but not careless ones. These are blessings shaped by wisdom, by timing, by what you have learned through disappointment, and by what your soul now refuses to settle for. And this is why the Venus-Saturn influence matters so much right now. Because Jupiter is opening the bridge, but Venus and Saturn are examining the structure. They are testing what is real, what is stable, what is sincere, and what only looked like love because you were tired of waiting for something better. Since yesterday, hidden patterns may have begun surfacing in your relationships. Not always through dramatic conflict, sometimes through silence, sometimes through distance, sometimes through the heavy, undeniable realization that someone's energy does not match their words, or that a connection you kept trying to rescue has already revealed its emotional ceiling. This can feel sobering. It can feel lonely. It can feel like the universe is asking you to grow up in a part of your life where you were begging to finally relax. But that is exactly why this moment matters. You are not being denied love. You are being separated from illusion so that real blessing can reach you without distortion. You may have been living through months of slow emotional wear. A kind of fatigue that was difficult to explain to other people because it did not always look dramatic from the outside. Perhaps you kept functioning, kept showing up, kept smiling, kept doing what needed to be done. But inwardly, there was a different story. A story of waiting for clarity. Waiting for the heaviness to lift. Waiting for someone to become emotionally honest. Waiting for finances to stabilize. Waiting for your nervous system to stop bracing for disappointment. Waiting for proof that the universe had not forgotten you. This transit speaks directly to that version of you. The one who kept going, even when the path felt uncertain. The one who carried more than they said. The one who learned how to survive emotional drought without becoming completely bitter. You may also have noticed that the last chapter did not simply test your patience. It tested your self-worth. When life delays softness for too long, when answers remain unclear, when love feels conditional, when your energy keeps being drained by people or situations that ask for your empathy but do not return your safety, something deeper gets activated. You begin to question your instincts. You begin to wonder whether your needs are too much, whether your longing is naive, whether your hope is making a fool of you. This is one of the crueler effects of prolonged uncertainty. It does not just hurt the heart. It confuses the inner compass. It makes you doubt the very intuition that was trying to protect you. That is why this golden recovery phase is so important. Recovery is not only about things getting easier. Recovery is about your inner world becoming trustworthy again. It is about feeling your own signals more clearly. It is about discovering that peace is not boring, that consistency is not a trap, that emotional maturity is not coldness, and that stable blessing can arrive without chaos attached to it. Jupiter direct in Cancer begins restoring trust and nourishment. It begins teaching your system that blessing does not always come like lightning. Sometimes it comes like a steady tide returning to shore. Sometimes it comes like an opportunity that finally feels safe enough to accept. Sometimes it comes like the courage to stop chasing what keeps withholding self from you. What is shifting now is not only external. Yes, there may be movement in relationships, family matters, home decisions, emotional healing, and finances. But the deeper shift is internal permission. You are being given permission to want more than survival, more than temporary reassurance, more than emotionally unavailable affection disguised as chemistry, more than work that keeps you depleted, more than cycles that reward your loyalty while punishing your softness. Jupiter direct begins widening the bridge in front of you. And with that widening comes a question. Are you ready to walk toward what can actually sustain you? Or are you still emotionally attached to what nearly broke you? This can create a strange mixture of relief and grief. Relief because something inside you knows the tide is turning. Grief because not everyone, and not everything, belongs on the other side of this bridge. Some people may reveal themselves through what they cannot offer. Some situations may reveal their truth through how small they make you feel. Some dreams may need to be released because they were built around who you were when you still believed. You had to earn love through overextension. The abundance here is real, but it is not childish abundance. It is not getting everything you once wanted exactly as you once imagined it. It is getting aligned enough that what comes next actually honors the person you have become. Emotionally, this transit can feel incredibly vivid in the body. You may notice waves of deep calm, followed by sudden emotion, moments where you feel unusually sensitive to tone, to silence, to the emotional temperature of a room. You may wake from dreams that feel symbolic, old memories resurfacing, family patterns coming back into awareness, or realizations about the ways you learned to make yourself smaller in order to feel safe. Some of you may feel heaviness in the chest, as though old grief is being stirred loose. Some may feel throat tension, especially if there are truths you have not spoken. Others may notice fatigue, the kind that appears not because you are weak, but because your system is finally beginning to release the vigilance it has been carrying. Do not dismiss this. The body is part of the bridge. The body often knows before the mind does when a cycle is ending and another is beginning. This is why you may feel more emotional near water, more protective of your space, more aware of who drains you, more resistant to noise, chaos, and emotional inconsistency. Cancer energy makes the inner world louder. Jupiter expanding that energy can magnify both the ache and the healing. So if feelings rise now, it does not mean you are moving backward. It may mean the bridge is doing what bridges do. It is carrying you from one reality into another. In the middle of that crossing is never numb. There is also a spiritual seriousness to this moment. The Venus-Saturn influence is not allowing false comfort to remain unchallenged. It is showing you where emotional adulthood is required. Not the harsh kind that shuts down the heart, but the sacred kind that teaches the heart what it can no longer afford to romanticize. This may show up as clearer boundaries, slower choices, more careful discernment, and a new refusal to confuse longing with alignment. Some of you are realizing that your future cannot be built with someone who only appears when it is convenient. Others are seeing that your peace is too expensive to keep trading it for temporary closeness. Others still may recognize that the most important relationship being strengthened right now is the one between you and your own inner authority, This matters in money as well. Jupiter direct in Cancer does not only affect feelings, it affects the way you receive, protect, and grow what nourishes your life. Cancer rules security, shelter, care, the instinct to preserve what matters. With Jupiter moving forward again, many people may begin noticing a slow return of financial momentum, but with an important difference. The lesson now is not reckless expansion. It is wise expansion. It is recognizing that abundance is not just income. It is what remains after panic stops making your decisions. It is what grows when you stop leaking energy, time, and resources into situations that offer no emotional or practical stability in return. You may find yourself thinking differently about savings, home, family support, work environments, or investments that create long-term safety rather than short-term stimulation. Some of you may feel called to reorganize finances, protect resources more carefully, or finally make a practical choice you have been avoiding because uncertainty made it difficult to trust your timing. This transit supports emotional intelligence in financial matters. It asks you to build wealth the way Cancer builds safety, carefully, intentionally, protectively, and with awareness of what truly feeds your life. There may also be surprising openings connected to home, property, caregiving, hospitality, healing work, creative work done from the heart, or any path that combines emotional intelligence with practical service. But this abundance only stabilizes if your self-worth stabilizes too. You cannot build lasting prosperity while secretly believing you must overgive to deserve support. You cannot cross into a stronger chapter if your nervous system still equates chaos with opportunity. Part of your financial recovery now may come from valuing your energy differently, charging differently, negotiating differently, refusing draining arrangements, saying no to what looks profitable but feels corrosive, saying yes to what may be slower but steadier. The bridge here is not only from lack to more, it is from anxious receiving to grounded receiving, from scarcity-shaped choices to choices rooted in inner enoughness. Your health and body deserve special attention under this transit because emotional recovery is never purely psychological. Jupiter in Cancer can magnify what your body has been storing. That means sleep patterns may shift. You may need more water, more rest, more quiet, and more intentional regulation than usual. Overstimulation may hit harder now. Crowded spaces, emotionally chaotic people, doom-scrolling late nights, and ignoring your body's softer signals may feel more punishing than they normally do. Pay attention. The body is not being dramatic. It is asking for conditions that match the chapter you are trying to enter. Hydration matters. Gentle nourishment matters. Slowing down enough to notice what your stomach, chest, breath, and nervous system are telling you matters. Some viewers may notice tension in the digestive system, increased sensitivity to certain foods, or emotional hunger patterns being activated. Others may experience deep tiredness after social interactions that used to feel manageable. Some may need to cry more than usual, sleep longer, or step away from noise that once felt normal. None of this is a weakness. It is a recalibration. You are not only thinking your way across the bridge, you are carrying your body there too. And your body will tell you very honestly whether your current pace, habits, and emotional environment are compatible with the future you say you want. Nowhere will this transit speak more sharply than in relationships and communication. This is where the bridge becomes visible, because relationships reveal whether two people are truly walking in the same direction, or whether one person keeps dragging the weight of the connection alone. Venus and Saturn are exposing the architecture of intimacy right now. The beams, the cracks, the load-bearing truths. This is why some interactions may feel colder, more serious, or more revealing than usual. It is not necessarily punishment. It is structural truth. You are being shown what can hold weight and what collapses the moment real responsibility appears. If someone loves you but cannot meet you in maturity, the gap may become impossible to ignore now. If someone wants access to your softness without honoring your boundaries, the cost of that imbalance may feel unbearable. If you have been hoping that mixed signals would eventually become commitment, or that emotional inconsistency would somehow transform into safety, This transit may remove the fantasy from the room. And while that can sting, it is also mercy. Because false hope can keep people emotionally stranded for years. This energy is asking you to look at behavior, not performance. Consistency, not chemistry alone. Presence, not potential alone. Stability, not promises alone. For some of you, this may deepen a real bond. A connection may become more serious, more honest, more grounded. An important conversation may reveal that both people are ready to build something with greater maturity. A partner may step up. A truth may finally be spoken. A silence may end. But if that happens, it will not happen through fantasy. It will happen through emotional accountability. Through someone being willing to show up in a way that your nervous system can trust. Through love becoming something more architectural than poetic. More dependable than dramatic. More bridge than whirlwind. And for others, this transit may bring distance precisely because distance is information. Someone pulling back may be showing you their capacity. Someone becoming evasive may be revealing their limits. Someone who disappears when seriousness enters the picture is not confusing. They are telling you something, even if you do not like what they are telling you. You must watch this closely now. Not from paranoia, but from self-respect. The universe is asking you not to chase clarity from people whose behavior is already answering you. Your job is not to drag someone across the bridge. Your job is to notice who is walking with you willingly, honestly. And with the emotional maturity this next chapter requires, communication under this energy should be slower, cleaner, and more intentional. Say what is true without over-explaining. Ask the question you have been avoiding. Observe whether the response creates more peace or more confusion. Do not rush to fix silence that is exposing imbalance. Do not volunteer emotional labor to maintain a connection someone else refuses to help carry. And do not ignore the profound spiritual importance of being understood correctly. This season is teaching you that misunderstanding is not always romantic. Ambiguity is not always deep. Sometimes uncertainty is simply misalignment, wearing a poetic costume. So what should you do during this transit? First, slow down enough to hear yourself. Not the voice of fear alone and not the voice of fantasy alone, but the deeper knowing underneath both. The knowing that notices where your energy expands and where it contracts. Journal what feels heavier now and what feels clearer. Notice the names, situations, habits, and environments that immediately tighten your chest. Notice where your body softens. Have one honest conversation you have been postponing, but only if it comes from clarity rather than desperation. Protect money more carefully. Review commitments. Rest more than your guilt thinks you should. Let people reveal themselves through pattern, not promise. Stop chasing what only responds to pursuit. The bridge does not ask you to run. It asks you to cross consciously. This is also an excellent time to return to simple rituals that restore your inner safety. Clean your space. Cook something nourishing. Sit near water. Reduce noise. Rebuild trust with your own timing. Speak to yourself with more dignity. Cancel what drains you when possible. Spend less time trying to decode inconsistent people and more time strengthening the life you are building. Under Jupiter and Cancer, abundance often grows where care becomes consistent. Not flashy care. Not performative healing. Real care. Repeated care. The kind that teaches your soul it no longer lives in emergency. Now, let us speak directly to the three signs most affected. Cancer. This transit is deeply personal for you because Jupiter turning direct in your sign is like the universe reopening a current that has been trying to move through your life for months. You may have felt suspended lately, as though your heart knew something was changing, but the external confirmation kept arriving slowly or not at all. You have been in a season of internal expansion, mixed with emotional heaviness, and that combination can be exhausting. It can make you feel hopeful and tired at the same time. But now the bridge is directly in front of you. Your recovery phase begins when you stop apologizing for needing emotional safety. You are not too sensitive. You are becoming more accurate. Watch what this season reveals about who supports your growth without resenting your depth. Watch what opportunities begin to move once you stop trying to force timing that was never yours. Financially, you may begin to see improvement through more confident decisions around home, work, or personal value. In love, the truth becomes unavoidable. Do not settle for being deeply felt, but poorly handled. Your next chapter needs room to breathe. Pisces, this energy reaches you through the restoration of faith after emotional confusion. You may have spent too long holding space for what was beautiful in theory, but unstable in practice. Too long believing that if you stayed soft enough, patient enough, spiritually wise enough, things would eventually align on their own. But Venus and Saturn are teaching you that love without structure becomes sorrow. And Jupiter direct is showing you that your blessing returns the moment you stop confusing sacrifice with destiny. The bridge for you is between fantasy and sacred reality, between longing and embodiment, between waiting to be chosen and recognizing where life is already trying to choose you. Creatively, spiritually, and emotionally, something can begin flowing again now. Your heart may feel more open, but also more discerning. That is wisdom, not loss of magic. Let it guide you. In money, do not underprice your gifts. In relationships, believe patterns faster. In healing, trust that what is leaving was never meant to accompany your next expansion. Taurus. This transit affects your inner and outer stability in a profound way because it is teaching you that peace has to be protected before it can multiply. You may have been carrying pressure in silence, trying to remain composed while deeper emotional truths gathered beneath the surface. Perhaps certain conversations have felt overdue. Perhaps a relationship, family dynamic, or work pattern has been quietly testing your patience and dignity. Jupiter direct now supports movement and communication, agreements, plans, and the rebuilding of emotional steadiness. But the bridge for you is made of self-respect. You are being asked to speak more clearly, choose more deliberately, and stop tolerating what consistently unsettles your nervous system. This can become a powerful abundance phase if you stop confusing endurance with alignment. Money can improve through wiser structure, more careful planning, and communication that reflects your actual value. In love, seriousness will either strengthen a bond or expose its weakness. Either way, truth becomes your ally, and even if your sun sign was not named, this message may still belong to you. Because the bridge is not only for one sign or another, it is for anyone who has felt the weight of emotional delay and is now being shown that recovery is possible without betrayal of the self. It is for anyone who has been living on too little reassurance, too little clarity, too little stability, too little softness, and is finally beginning to understand that blessing does not require self-abandonment. It is for the ones who stayed tender in hard conditions, for the ones who learned patience in silence, for the ones who kept listening for the tide even when the shore felt empty. This is the deeper truth of Jupiter, direct in Cancer. It does not simply hand you a reward. It restores your capacity to receive one. It teaches you that safety is sacred, that emotional maturity is attractive, that real love protects what it touches, that wise abundance grows where care is consistent, that the life ahead of you cannot be built on the same compromises that define the life behind you. The bridge is here now, not imaginary, not symbolic only, real in the way all spiritual turning points are real, through your choices, your body, your boundaries, your timing, your courage, your standards, and your willingness to believe that what nourishes you is not too much to ask for. So if things feel serious now, do not panic. Serious does not mean doomed. Serious means foundational. It means the universe is no longer entertaining what cannot support your future. It means your heart is being trained to recognize the difference between intensity and integrity. It means recovery is not an abstract promise anymore. It is becoming a structure you can live inside. Let the false fall away. Let the slow become sacred. Let clarity do its clean work. Let blessing arrive in forms your nervous system can finally trust. And above all, do not turn back just because the middle of the bridge still feels tender. Of course it does. You are leaving behind a version of yourself that had to normalize uncertainty in order to survive it. But you are not that version anymore. You are being shown something better now. Something steadier. something more honest. Something that does not ask your spirit to keep shrinking just to stay connected. Jupiter has turned direct. The tide is moving. The bridge is holding. And if you walk this crossing with dignity, restraint, emotional truth, and faith in what truly nourishes you, then this golden recovery phase will not just heal your heart, it will change the standard by which you live your entire life.